Hey guys, don't call you Coach Wise Pods, and welcome back to another episode of Team Review post round 21. What a weird Sunday we had. It was a day of carnage. Steel sub, who the hell saw that coming? Rosie laid out. Obviously, there was concerns over Baz Smith, but luckily he ended up playing. It was just an overall, even Butters getting absolutely tagged to smithereens. It was a tough one to watch on Sunday. So not the greatest one to be a part of, but yeah, as for myself though, 23.63 this week. So around the middle of the table there with a round rank of 4,875. Moved up still about 100 rankings, so just inside the top 1,000 now. I can officially say I have a respectable rank, guys. So yeah, happy to be finally part of the group. It's been a long time since I've had a low rank like this. But let's just jump straight into plus threes and negative threes. I'll try and make this one a bit quicker than normal. Uh, Plus three has to go to Brody Grundy. Just he is absolutely flying at the moment. Probably all Australian at the moment. Another 150. But yeah, just looking at his scores is ridiculous. Like I was only looking at it today, looking at how good he's been. He has not dropped below 120. Only dropped below 120 once in the last sort of 10 rounds since around 11. Sorry, around 10 was the last time he went below 120. Before the round, yeah. So he's just absolutely flying. It is unreal. Didn't care about Laddens being in the side. Just got it done with 38 touches for a ruckman is just ridiculous. So he definitely deserves the plus three, but the negative three has to go to myself. If you watched my captain's video on Thursday, you knew that I was going in with the VC on Brody Grundy. I'd shown all the evidence that he's going to go massive and Max Gorn wasn't going to go great. But with Laddams being introduced in the side on Thursday night, I was like, okay, I'm still okay with this as long as he's named as sub, but unfortunately was not named as sub. And yeah, then I just made the switch. No, can't have that. He has to go, so I put it on Max Gorn. And yeah, that 113 wasn't enough for me. Missed out on 150 and then rolled into the likes of the Langini Miller, who I thought was looking great. 100 points at three-quarter time. I was happy. He was on track for a 130 sort of score. And I was like, yeah, I'm happy with that. Drops 8 points in the final quarter. And just was a miserable watch. There's nothing you can do. Nothing I could do to just get him involved. 8 points, just not what I wanted. And sat pretty much full forward the entire time. Missed a few easy sort of marks and kicks at goals. Just went over his head a little bit. Yeah, just unfortunate there at the end of the day, but still happy with a 108 as a captain because it definitely could have been worse. But yeah, missing out on Brody Grundy 150, who was the highest scorer of the round, definitely wasn't amazing. 42 points just in that one little thing right there. So it's a bit frustrating. But reviewing my trades, so my trades did change a fair bit throughout the weekend. Obviously, I had the likes of Rankin on Friday night as my emergency. Really wanted to see how he goes against the Hawks. He did end up saving his score quite massively. I think he had a 40-point last quarter by kicking 2 goals and whatnot. Obviously, still playing a huge amount of forward. So that meant I was happy with that. I was taking that over the likes of Jack Martin, who I ended up trading out in this. So I didn't need him as such, and I didn't need the likes of a Jeremy Cameron either. So I ended up switching my trades to be able to get Matt Rowell in. I'm okay with it. Like I was expecting more from Matt Rowell, 106. I'm still happy with it, but was hoping for a big sitting score. I sort of knew that Anderson was going to go bigger than what Rowell was going to do, but I think Rowell will be better throughout the remainder of the next 3 weeks. So that's just why I went there instead. But yeah, happy with how the midfield's now looking. Definitely feels a bit more balanced now. But yeah, just a few other ones that let me down. Obviously, Zach Butters, 34. Realistically, should have my negative three. That is just a weak performance. Definitely soft as Butters. And obviously got tagged by Mullen. 10 disposals, 0 marks, 2 tackles. Man, at least get some tackles if you're going to be tagged that much. You can't be that bad. So that's shocking. I guess obviously we had the warning signs. He had the 46 earlier in the year, but we hadn't seen the Mullen tag for since that last time. So I don't understand why they just run it. Even though they know they were going to comfortably beat Port and they were up by 80 points, they still didn't let it go. Yeah, definitely danger signs there that they do not care. And guess who has Mullen next week or this weekend coming up? It is Zach Merritt. So he is someone that if you are an owner, he's definitely probably a pretty high priority to either get on your bench in a loop if you can, or trade him out as soon as possible because he does play Friday night, so you will be able to have a look if you want to hold. But yeah, he also had a tag against James Jordan, 19 disposals, 2 marks, 4 tackles, for only the 76. I was able to put him on the bench, and I wasn't taking his score until the Rosie laid out that it meant I had to take it anyway. So that was a bit frustrating, and I did have Tom McCarthy as well. So a lot of looping this weekend, which did mean I had to stay on my toes a fair bit. Yeah, but ultimately it didn't do me a hell of a lot realistically, because realistically I had Rosie in the halfback line, would have taken Tom McCarthy's score anyway, and I could have left Zach Merritt in the midfield. So at the end of the day, I had to take all the scores that I took, anyways. But yeah, just trying to avoid these scores as much as possible, and I could have, but not quite this week. It didn't really quite work in my favour. So, but yeah, like I said, Merritt got tagged as well, so that was disappointing. Shout out to the North Melbourne guys. Sheasel, McKercher, and Daniel all going 115 plus in that game, 115, 117, 119. They just absolutely racked it with, 32 touches, 36 touches, I think it was, and Sheasel just another 33 touches and just gets it done. He has been very, very good, just getting it done every single week, even though the role he is playing is not great. So, yeah, love to have all those guys. We'll see. I don't know. Daniel was an interesting one. He was my target to get rid of this week for Jeremy Cameron. So, I guess the question needs to be asked: do I get rid of him still? I'm still leaning towards doing that, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. I don't think this is going to be sustainable. And does have the Giants this week, who we know are a bit of a tougher matchup for those halfbacks. We've seen, Dale only last week got held pretty safely to a 76, so that could be on the cards for these two as well. Forward line, I'm really happy with how the forward line is actually functioning at the moment. If you told me before the weekend that Matthew Kennedy was going to be my lowest score with a 79, I would have actually taken that every day of the week. And to have 4 scores of 110 plus, yeah, definitely thriving at the moment in that area. Max Gorn was disappointing, as I mentioned. Midfield, all really pretty much disappointing. Realistically, Dawson was only the standout. Realistically, the 3 major big boys, Brayshaw's been very disappointing. Probably since I traded him in, honestly. He's had 2 130 pluses, but everything besides that has been sub 100. Besides that 104, so definitely have not got the best out of him. Whereas most of everyone else got these massive scores. So yeah, pretty disappointing there. Dacos had a pretty quiet last term, just put up a 92 in a tough matchup that they lost, obviously. Tougher games coming up, so interesting to see how he goes there. Bont should have a pretty decent run home with the next 3, should be fine. So yeah, he's a pretty big target if you don't have him. Max Holmes, big shout out to him. He's just absolutely killing it at the moment. He is having a real breakout year. 103 average now. Yeah, absolutely killing it. So yeah, awesome. Mills put up a nice 100 in an easier matchup. Does have a tougher one though this weekend against the Brisbane Lions. So he could be one that, if you wanted to jump off, or he's your worst player in your team, definitely could be one that could go. Sinclair was disappointing as well. Did cop a little bit of attention. I can't remember who from, but yeah, just wasn't able to get the marks that we usually see from him. 0 marks is the first time he's done that all season. So yeah, definitely got a bit of attention in that game, unfortunately. But does have an extremely good next 2 matchups specifically. So should be good. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did. I guess a few other players I hadn't mentioned. Steele obviously got subbed at the start of the game. That was shocking to me to see that your captain of your side just starting as a sub. Came on somewhere in the third quarter and put up the 25. So hopefully you were able to jump off of him if you were there, but a lot of people would have had their trades locked out. Speaking of trade locks out, I couldn't trade out Rosie. If I did have the flexibility, I would have. But yeah, because that's just what you do at this time of the year. You trade out the players that are going to get you the best benefit, but I couldn't at the end of the day. I had Jack Martin down here, and I couldn't trade a forward for a midfielder, unfortunately. So I just left it as it was, and Jack Martin was sub anyway, so it didn't really make much of a benefit either way, and I could do my trade. So that was a bit frustrating. Long was another one that absolutely stunk it up this weekend. So if you had him, or if you still have him, he needs to absolutely go. 46 is atrocious. 9 touches, with 7 tackles is just it's disrespectful, realistically. A couple other trade outs you could be, Tom McCarthy. He now has a tougher run coming up with the next three, so I think his time could definitely be going at nearly 700k. You could easily get him up to a very nice premium at 23rd specifically, or complete your team and get the best player possible in your 22, depending on which way you're leaning. Merritt, as I said, with the upcoming tag, is definitely one that you got to be careful of. I don't think there's too many more tags. I don't think Finn McGuinness is going to be back for Hawks this week to play against Dacos. I don't think anyone's going to go with Bont from Melbourne. No, John Dawson should have a pretty good game against West Coast. Brayshaw against Port Adelaide should be okay. And hopefully Butters does not get the Wagner tag. That would be pretty disastrous if he goes back-to-back tags. So finger crossed that doesn't happen, but we have seen it in the past, so just something to be aware of. But that's probably a bit about it for my round review. Yeah, like I said, very happy. Quickly reviewing what I'm looking at doing this week. So far, my trades are trading out Tom McCarthy and Liddy and getting on to Jeremy Cameron. Jeremy Cameron is probably my number one target this week. He has the likes of Essendon, who you expect he's going to kick close to 10 this game. With how he was looking in the Port game, he was getting targeted so often, going inside 50, that I don't think Essendon are going to be able to stop him. I think he can easily put up 10 goals in this game, if not even more. And that could be another 150 sort of ceiling for him. So definitely, I think he should be getting on board. And with 2 very good scores in the next 2, obviously he's trying to get to the 100 goals. He's got 25 left to go in 3 matches and see if he can do it. I think he'll get very, very close. And they're obviously targeting him a huge amount. So I think he's just going to get it done. So he's definitely my number one target this week. Specifically, probably didn't get the best reward out of him last week with 6 goals. Only had the 4 marks and very little touches, only 8 touches. But yeah, expecting him to go much bigger in the Essendon game. So yeah, I think he's definitely the number one target this week easily. A few other targets you could go for. The 2 GWS boys in Whitfield and Ash both put up pretty good scores. They've got North Melbourne this weekend, so both of them are pretty good targets quite easily. Roll Marshall was also another one that surprised me. Obviously had the likes of Heath come back into the side. I thought that meant disasters for him in terms of his ceiling, but he still put up a 142. So if you were an owner there, you'd be pleasantly surprised. Hopefully it didn't stop you from going with the C or the VC. However you're looking with that, but yeah, definitely was a bit of a shock that he went as big as he did, and he does have the likes of Richmond this weekend, so probably another decent score coming his way, and then Goldstein after that as well. So he should be good for the remainder of the season. If you're looking to make a ruck trade there, I think that's about it. Or I had realistically, it wasn't a huge amount of news that came out of the weekend. Realistically, obviously we've got to keep an eye on what happens with Rosie if he's going to come back this weekend. So he may be a forced trade. We'll have to wait and find out. But realistically, that was pretty much about it. Both the St Kilda boys still have a very good matchup this weekend against Richmond. So again, we'll be prioritising those 2. So I still think Jack Sinclair's a very viable option this weekend if you don't have him already. Dawson, if you're not a Dawson owner, he's got West Coast and North in the next 3, so he's going to have a phenomenal finish to the season. So if you haven't been an owner all year, now is the time. He is extremely highly owned at 45%. But yeah, I will touch on a lot more options when it comes to trade mode throughout the week, and we'll go from there. But yeah, for now, my sort of plan is with Jeremy Cameron obviously coming in, I'm pretty happy with how my forward line is. I'm just going to trust them all on field. Rankin obviously has West Coast this week, so just going to trust him on field, hopefully kick 3 or 4 and put up a solid 80 score just there without looping him. At this stage, I am looking at looping Merritt and then going into Caleb Daniel if he doesn't put up a decent score, which I don't expect him to. I will play around with my trades a little bit to see if I can still, go from a Merritt and get to a Jeremy Cameron and do, a bit of sideways trading to get my the best players possible to get the maximum amount of points out of my team. But so far, I haven't found a way to be able to do it as efficiently because merit isn't worth a huge amount, and I'm not seeing a huge amount of targets that are of the cheaper variety without going super unique. That could backfire on me very quickly. So we'll talk about a little bit more on trade mode later in the week. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Hopefully you had a good week, and hopefully you won your finals. I did win most of my finals. I think I lost one, but yeah. Hopefully you did, and hopefully you are still on the push to win a hat, if not the car. So all the best, guys. I will see you later in the week. Cheers. Bye.